It has been a long time since I've done one of these, but it feels good to be back after Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash with everything that's gone down as the new beginning in New Japan Pro Wrestling is in the books, and we move forward now to so much with the new beginning USA coming up, and of course, Castle Attack. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good night, konnichiwa to you all, and welcome to Simpleman Studios. And my name is Noah Foster, and I'm just a simple man. And welcome again to this forum where I once again give you a simple take. And in this one, we're simply going to go through the new beginning in its entirety, as it was culminated across three events, one in Nagoya and the other two in Hiroshima. But a lot went down during the road too, including a return, tons of grudges and rivalries unsettled, I might add, and a man's philosophy being challenged by at least one other person, and so much more. With that being said, I first want to thank you, everybody here who has continued to tune into my channel. I've been trying to bring more fun wrestling content. And of course, to those that have followed New Japan Pro Wrestling, I thank you and arigato. And if you haven't already checked out the stuff they put on Roku, I highly suggest it. With that being said, let's get right into the discussion. So really the New Japan, the new beginning, it really started off at a New Year's Dash, where we had events of a united empire with a determined message and a one stand, which of course left their mark, taking out Hiroyoshi Tenzan and infuriating Satoshi Kojima. We had a Switchblade distraught, basically taken down and humbled by one Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. And of course, we had several, and I mean several, title matches set up with the Never Openweight, the Junior Heavyweight, the Junior Tag Team Heavyweight Championships, and of course, continued just mockery, bullying, and mind games to one Dangerous Tekkers member, Taiji, by, of course, the current IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, GOD. And all these matches culminated across this tour. With that being said, let's go ahead and focus on what happened during the road. We had Homa get a surprise upset win in a multi-person match over Tetsuya Naito. We had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships change hands by one lethal kick. I still think there's more to that than meets the eye, and someone cannot convince me otherwise. But ELP and Taiji Boy, they did become, once again, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, beating Yoshinobu Kawamaro and El Desperado, using every dirty trick in the book, including sending the referee into Nagoya. And this was just during the road as well. But again, Suzuki-gun, they are not one to take this lightly. They are not going to forgive Bullet Club for everything they've done to them in both of these divisions, I might add. And of course, we have Minoru Suzuki, who just wants somebody to really challenge him, give him fun. And it seems Uemura wants to still be that guy, but I'm pretty sure Uemura has a death wish. So kudos and good luck to the kid. We fast forward and we've had DQ matches, more DQ matches than you normally would think about during a tour or during New Japan in general, with an infuriating Hiroyoshi Tenzan making an emphatic return. And of course, Satoshi Kojima lighting a fire with one already really pissed off Will Ospreay, which resulted in turning the Will Ospreay and Satoshi Kojima match into no DQ. And Hiroyoshi Tenzan, who I feel is on the verge, maybe soon, from retiring in ring action, he literally sacrificed his Mongolian chop to try and get even with one Dominator, Gretel Khan, who took him out with a pile driver, of course. Other rivalries developed too, as Okada is looking to avenge a loss from New Japan Cup last year, as Reneman Katsushika Okada, he wanted to take on Evil one-on-one. We, of course, also had subtle respect between Sanada and Kota Ibushi as they continued to try and show one-upsmanship as they were planning for their match ahead of time. And shout out to my friend Sandy. Hello, Elizabeth Delgado. New beginning tours were amazing. Surprised Suzuki-gun's not booked for Castle Attack. Wonder what could be next for them. Well, I definitely have thoughts regarding that, and stay tuned because I definitely have some ideas what could be next for Suzuki-gun, as subtly the exclusives from the conclusion of Hiroshima yesterday, it kind of sheds some light to what could be next for a lot of people. So with that being said, let's move forward past the events of the road that led us to this moment, including Draw main event tag team preview showcases for Never Openweight and the Double Gold, and let's talk about what went down. So the very first match that went down that I want to highlight, of course, is the grudge finally settled as Hiroyoshi Tenzan took on Gretel Khan. Gretel Khan, who basically has been this destructive force that seemed unstoppable till he was humbled by one ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, back at Wrestle Kingdom. And ever since then, he basically set his target at Hiroshi Tenzan. This match was literally what I thought it would be. It was aggressive, it was violent, and it was a match of chops. Both men literally chopping each other, and I'm pretty sure reducing each other's height to a degree with Mongolian chops. In the end, Hiroshi Tenzan came very close, even using Great-O-Khan's hair against him. Ridiculous power move off the top rope, but Great-O-Khan, I will give the man credit where credit's due. He not only pile drive Tenzan again, but it was not enough to beat him this time as Tenzan refused to stay down. But Great-O-Khan, he got probably his biggest win yet. He beat Hiroshi Tenzan with the Dominator, which now means Hiroshi Tenzan can no longer use Mongolian chop. It is now owned by Great-O-Khan. I look at this match and I think about this in two ways. Tenkozy is still a very valuable player in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Not to mention Hiroshi Tenzan and Kojima. I don't think they're nowhere near done wrestling because that's what they love. But Tenzan no longer having the chop and trying to guide Master Wato forward. And might I add, Master Wato developed a feud with Bushi during the road as well. I feel that Tenzan is really going to play more of a mentorship role going forward. And I don't think he and Great-O-Khan will meet again under these circumstances anytime soon. I feel like both men got their anger out here, and at the end of the day, Great-O-Khan, he dominated, and he got what he wanted. So what does that mean going forward for Great-O-Khan? Well, you'll find out soon enough, but as far as Hiroshi Tenzan goes, I don't see him retiring. I see him and Kojima still continuing their ways with Tenkozy, and I definitely see Tenzan still offering mentorship, support, and coaching to one Master Wato. This was a pretty good match for the time it was allotted. It went probably about maybe 12 minutes, but I thought it was okay. Moving on from there, as United Empire tried to really stick their flag in the ground, prove their dominance, prove they're about, prove they are the future, prove that they will run this company. We then go to the other half of Tenkozy, as Satoshi Kojima took on Will Ospreay, the Commonwealth Kingpin, in a no disqualification match. And no disqualification, it lived up to the hype, as literally everything was used here. We had a guitar, we had ladders, we had chairs, we've had cookie trays. We had a very determinable Ospreay who was pissed off. Surprised the guitar didn't say, "Don't piss me off." That would have been a funny addition to this match. Satoshi Kojima at one point, a ridiculous short arm lariato, knocking Ospreay off the top rope through a suspended ladder that just bent over Ospreay's body. Ouch. I thought that Kojima was really close here to getting the win at this point. But to Will Ospreay's credit, and even Kojima said, I'm surprised he survived against that guy. Will Ospreay, he did pull out the win in the end with everything you would expect from Will Ospreay. After a ridiculous power maneuver and a hidden blade directly to Satoshi Kojima, he followed up with Stormbreaker, and he got a very aggressive, well-fought win. I feel like this match here showed that Satoshi Kojima, he still fights dirty, and he can still get down and dirty with the best of them, including the most brightest of stars today. And as far as Will Ospreay goes, as he continues to try and lead his United Empire forward, not being a leader or a dictator, but someone with a direction that apparently they all share in common. I feel this was a good first step forward and a good recovery from Wrestle Kingdom. And again, he wants more gold. He is still the British heavyweight champion. We still have to determine whether or not someone's going to come after him and challenge for that. But knowing who Will Ospreay has history with, I can kind of get an idea maybe where I see him going. As far as Kojima here, you would think now that Kojima got all the pent-up frustration and anger out of his body, we can move on from United Empire. I felt like here Will Ospreay humbled Kojima, but Ospreay also, he took Kojima, I feel like, lightly during parts of this match, and his back definitely suffered for it. This was a fun, wild, aggressive affair, and overall, again, Tenkozy, they really lived up to their match's expectations, but United Empire, talk about a bounce back. Moving forward, we go into what truly was a historic never overweight title match. As the current at time never overweight champion, Shingo Takagi, he defended the title against the ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who exemplified his love for this man after these two went for a draw in the tag team main event. But again, the way Shingo's mind works, his spirit, his will go forward. All he cares about is bringing the value up of this title. He considers this title a treasure, his prized possession. These two, with the longest never overweight title match in history, it definitely took a different identity compared to what you normally think about in never overweight title matches, as Rocky put it, BMF. I would not consider Hiroshi Tanahashi a BMF, but I do consider him literally the ace. I consider him that living, undying spirit of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it proved here, as both men literally went more so for a map-based game at times, it seemed, trying to target each other's legs. Dragon Screw shared galore. Ouch, I think that move still freaking sucks overall. And great power offense hosted, of course, by Shingo Takagi and his explosive speed. But again, Hiroshi Tanahashi, he went high risk with high fly flows, including one to the outside of the ring. And as these two are just well into each other, including what I like to call the Shingo Kabel, that elbow, that jab, and that follow-up lariato. At one point, Tanahashi literally slapping Shingo. It's like these two were just trying to bring even more intensity out of each other. And they did as this match went over for 35 minutes. But in the end, the ace, yes, folks, the ace prevailed, pulling off a great double combination with a high fly flow to the spine and one last final pinfall. And the ace is now our new never overweight champion. He truly has done everything now in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Honestly, I was not counting the ace out of this, considering before the neverweight title was a thing back in its earlier stages, it was known as the U30. Only 3 people held that title, and Tanahashi was one of them. But the fact that Hiroshi Tanahashi is now the never overweight champion, I feel gives it a new identity and raises not only the value of this title, but its outlook. You think about right now with the IWGP Intercontinental and Heavyweight titles being unified under one person with their own idealism, though not physically. It's like the heavyweight title can kind of take the place of the Intercontinental title, and literally this title is limitless. There are no bounds to it. Who could challenge it, who could go for it, and what could come from it as far as match quality and identity goes. This was an incredible match, but I must say it surprises me that Shingo Takagi lost it because, folks, this is his first defense since regaining the title back at Wrestle Kingdom against Jeff Cobb, and boy, was that match freaking incredible. I think about this, and I think about Shingo only moving forward. Maybe he can go after the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Maybe he could be a contender this year to win the New Japan Cup. As far as Tanahashi goes, he knows he's not the ace he used to be. He knows he's not as physically capable or intact as he used to be either, compared to everybody on this roster. But now he has a new air guitar, and with this never title, I'm sure he plans to not only raise his game, but raise the identity of New Japan and the never overweight class. This was very impressive, a very hard-fought, incredible win by Tanahashi, who, of course, sent us off saying I love you with a concert until Great-O-Khan showed up and made his presence known. He absolutely did not forget about what happened to him back at Wrestle Kingdom. But overall, I must say that this was an interesting way to circle back to Great-O-Khan and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Elizabeth, what you got her? Actually, that was, oh, that's right, because literally he was the winner. He was the champion at Wrestle Kingdom. But still, very short run, if you ask me. If a Shingo's like a fan, still amazed by this match and Shingo's post-match comments. Yeah, again, Shingo, he respects the man, but he also is not like he feels defeated. He wants to go after this title again, and he can't wait to do it again. Even Tanahashi said, one more time, one more time. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing this one more time. And thank you for that, Elizabeth. Sorry, folks. Botch. But anyway, Great-O-Khan, he basically came out here and made his presence known. And basically, he has claimed to be Tanahashi's first opponent for the never overweight title. So again, folks, I feel we got a Wrestle Kingdom rematch coming our way. But we'll have to wait and see. As, of course, at Nagoya, there has been no sign in-ring wise of the ace, though he has been on commentary for the other great events of this tour. But there's been absolutely no sign of the United Empire, which I'm sure is going to change now that the New Japan Pro Wrestling New Beginning Tour has concluded. But this was just the first day of this 3-day headline spectacular. As we move away from Nagoya, we build now towards Hiroshima that literally is about, well, building everything else. And the first match out of this, of course, was Bushi and Wato started still a feud. It kind of surprises me that Master Wato lost here. He's now lost to El Desperado back at Jingu Stadium, and he's now lost to Bushi. He had a pretty good running in the Best Super Juniors in his debut, but he didn't win that either. And Bushi, who's been that guy that you're like, oh, Bushi. Seems like he never get out of the blocks and gets the win here. Bushi beat Master Wato with MX, fair and square in the middle of the ring, and then insulted him by just throwing a bag of water on him. I feel like that Bushi and Master Wato is not done here, and it's going to be revisited. But it looks like Master Wato, he's got a different target in mind, and he did pick up a win later on that we will discuss. But let's go ahead and move now towards Hiroshima and what started headlining that. As ever since Wrestle Kingdom, and the fact that Tama Tonga has now claimed the Iron Glove of Iizuka. He has turned Taiji's life into a personal living hell. For those that know New Japan, people know very well how Iizuka, Suzuki-gun, and Taiji especially were so close and connected, and the fact that Taiji has literally held on to this Iron Glove ever since Iizuka's retirement and basically his leave from Suzuki-gun in a violent way. And it finally came ahead here in Oshima after multiple times of tag team teases, and you think Tama Tonga has the Iron Glove, and literally Taiji just wants it back that bad that anything that Tama Tonga brought, he opened up and literally tore away from Tama Tonga to be like, is this it? Is this it? Nope, just more games and more games and more games. Everything from a baseball mitt to a mitten to a paddle to a bra. What? To a rubber chicken. I was slowly thinking during this build that Tama Tonga was slowly losing his mind from the influence that that glove was having from him externally, why he didn't really wear it at times, though he did use it at times during this tour to pick up momentum and get wins, including the Suzuki-gun versus Bullet Club traditional elimination match, 10-man tag. But anyway, it finally came ahead here as Dangerous Tekkers got their rematch for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships against GOD. But more so, this match to me was not a story about claiming gold. It was a story of redemption for one Holy Emperor, as Yoshinobu Kanemaru was on commentary, and basically this was a match of two different matches, Tama Tonga and Taiji, Tanga Loa and Zack Sabre Jr., basically holding it down, holding it together. Tanga Loa is called the Silverback for a reason. That dude is incredibly built and strong. He and Taiji had some subtle exchanges, and literally at sometimes just eating Axbama, literally no effect to see at times until he eat a high kick and the match momentum was slowed down. You bring Zack Sabre Jr. in here, and it looks like the GOD was going to go for a power play, but Zack Sabre Jr. out of nowhere, he locks in the guillotine at times. And literally, we have dual submission attempts, it seemed, where Zack Sabre Jr. and Taiji were trying to focus getting the goal back. Also, you had to consider the external presence of Jado, who was eliminated pretty soon with this ongoing rivalry that's been going on between him and Dukai, Kendo Stick versus Bent Pipe. As both of those men, they basically took each other out of this equation in this match for a while. As this match continued to go down the line, and things were finally going in ways of Suzuki-gun for a moment where, wait for it, one of my favorite moments, the pants come off. Yes, I'm like Chris Charlton. I look forward to that every time because, I mean, Taiji goes to a different level. Eat your heart out, Angel Garza. Anyway, as this match kept going forward, it would seem like it was going in favor of Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa, and at one point, the ref, he was taken out, and all hell broke loose. These guys were just wailing into each other. It wasn't until the ref was taken out inadvertently that we finally got the presence back of one Jado, who had the Iron Glove in hand, literally. And as he was about to make his play in this match with his candlestick, of course, who comes out and once again takes him out of the equation, but Dukai out of nowhere off screen. But unfortunately, he did eat the Iron Glove and literally was taken out by Tama Tonga, who was then setting up to hit Taiji with it until Zack Sabre Jr. came in for the save. And Taiji finally sees this. He finally claims the glove. And let's just say all hell broke loose. Taiji was fucking unleashed. As literally after the first attempt was blocked, he did finally get that glove on. And then he, bam, he took out Tanga Loa, despite the ref saying, don't do this, I will disqualify you. The titles was the last thing to his mind. After the personal hell that Taiji's been through, I don't blame the man one damn bit. GOD had it coming. But also, it gave GOD clarity, I feel like, because Tama Tonga, who ate it last, begging like, don't do this. I think he finally realizes what he did, and maybe now he'll strictly focus on just, being the best tag team in New Japan Pro Wrestling, hold on to these titles. Because while it was DQ and they did hold on to the titles, GOD did not look like winners at the end of this. And it took everybody from Suzuki-gun, El Desperado, and Zack Sabre Jr. just to break Taiji from the grip of this glove to bring him back to his senses. And by back to his senses, I mean as soon as they took the glove off, he literally passed out in the middle of the ring. And Zack Sabre Jr., he understood what Taiji did. He doesn't blame him. Those bloody idiots had it coming. His words. Overall, though, I thought this was a really good match. Interesting rivalry. I'm glad that Taiji finally got that glove back, knowing the personal connection he has, not just with this item, but with the person that once held it. I mean, heck, this guy used to fight on Taiji's behalf in matches back in the New Beginning a couple of years ago when he was going up against Naito. Anyway, now that Taiji has clarity, resolve, redemption, and resolution. I can only imagine that going forward, Suzuki-gun, they're going to still go after eventually the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And I have a feeling now that Taiji and Zack Sabre Jr. and Dangerous Tekkers are going to get back on track with what they've been wanting to do. But I digress. Overall, did I enjoy this match more than Wrestle Kingdom? Match-wise, no. But did I enjoy the story that came out of it and the aftermath too, with Taiji just going to hell, beating everybody, including the ref, Gabriel Kidd with a long-eyed look, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jado even, but that kendo stick shot he broke up his back having no effect. I love that. This was just fun to watch, and again, I thought the story played out the right way. Tama Tonga really felt that, and those backstage comments, happy the spell is broken, was really worried about that six-man title match that took place the next day. Indeed, my friend, as of course, before this card was made official, how could I forget? After Nagoya, February 1st, he has not been seen since. People are wondering, what's his future? Where's he going to go? What's he going to do next? Well, folks, you got your freaking answer, and I knew it all along, ever since the person that beat him suddenly said, okay, kid, come back. You definitely got potential. As Jay White made an emphatic return, taking out Tomohiro Ishii and claiming still his era, our era, the real Bullet Club era. For those that have been following wrestling, you know exactly why he said that. He said that he put pen to paper, re-signed a new contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And of course, as he continued now to be part of these matches on the road, basically the six-man champions, they basically got their piece of the Switchblades. Tomohiro Ishii just couldn't wait to just tear this guy apart. And I was like, I can't wait for these two to go one-on-one. I freaking love this. And literally at one point, and I can't remember the last time this happened, Goto from Japanese commentary jumps the fence and literally attacks Jay White. And we have Jay White being attacked overall after one match to the point that he's like, where are the Young Lions? Where's everybody? Why did they just let this happen to me? Well, he basically had his revenge with the Young Lions, just beating the crap out of them with a chair. And basically, he asked for Goto to be reprimanded and even removed from what he now has a plan for, obtaining the six-man never overweight tag team championships. And of course, this continued all the way until the match was made official the following day on Hiroshima. But before we got to there, we did have one more match this day, February 10th, that I thought really stole the damn show. As the closest man going from junior heavyweight to heavyweight, in my opinion, the heavyweight of the junior heavyweights, Roppongi 3K's show, he took on Ticking Time Bomb Hiromu Takahashi, who of course successfully defended his IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship back at Wrestle Kingdom against Taiji Mori after successfully basically getting that opportunity to have that match and win it against Taiji after being ELP night one. This match right here, it went further than I expected. And these two have constantly been at each other's throats and teasing each other during the road. And it all came ahead here as Sho's incredible power and his submissions game came into play. Hiromu just literally wanted more and more, fighting back. At one point, literally giving Sho super kick, thrust kick after thrust kick after thrust kick after thrust kick. And Sho would not go down. He would not stay down. There were a couple of close times here where Sho was able to get the better of Hiromu, but he was never able to pull up the shock arrow. At one point, pulling off a power breaker going into the key lock maneuver. It just wasn't enough, as Hiromu and Sho literally at times, just I feel like on adrenaline, kept this match going from 10 to 11. And these two literally just welled into each other. And at the end of it, it was Hiromu somehow avenging, might I add, a loss he took to Sho back at Best Super Juniors last year, getting the win and successfully retaining the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. With Hiromu's only goal left at this point, I feel like making it possible to try and bring the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship to the main event of Wrestle Kingdom. This match right here was the main event of the New Beginning in Hiroshima Night 1, which was, of course, February 10th. And I thought it truly deserved that spot, and they truly showcased what they were capable of. But I have to wonder, with Sho once again eating a defeat now, coming so close, and with Hiromu still holding this title, and I was thinking, okay, if Sho wins, Hiromu maybe he can move up to the heavyweight. No, it looks like Hiromu's still going to be that standard bearer and leader for the junior heavyweight division. where does Sho go from here now? Does Sho try to continue to pursue a singles career in the junior heavyweight division? Maybe the New Japan Cup could be a breakout moment. Does he try maybe to push himself in the heavyweight? Because you gotta wonder at this point, where does he go? He had the ultimate opportunity. He came up short, but it was an incredible match. I mean, how many times do you run this back? Because I know Hiromu, he wanted to do this again. As Hiromu literally was laid out in the middle of the ring, couldn't even stand up. But as we were trying to celebrate this incredible match in victory, who tries to come out and play spoiler? But one half of the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions in Bullet Club, ELP, who literally was about to super kick the man's head off. Tobushi came into play, and then Tajimori came into play. And of course, it looked like it was going to happen, but I don't know how he did it, off instinct alone maybe, but somehow Hiromu, he literally fought off the attempted super kick and 201 assault from Bullet Club, and then falls again. ELP, he makes his statement known, though. He's sick of this crap. He's sick of making him and Tajimori looks like fools. Of course, he did that back at Wrestle Kingdom. And it is the one thing that ELP has yet to accomplish or obtain in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He wants that IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. So it looks like Hiromu has his next challenger. However, counteroffer. Hiromu and Bushi, they want a shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. So it looks like right now we got this IWGP Junior Heavyweight feud going on between Bushi, Hiromu, and of course, Tajimori and ELP. I'm curious how far this goes, and as ELP says, it only takes one with his so-called ultimate super kick. And I'm curious if that will lead to ELP finally obtaining this belt, or do Bushi and Hiromu add more gold back to LIJ? Which, might I add right now, the only representative in LIJ holding gold is Hiromu Takahashi. This right here, though, was definitely my match of the night. And again, it's one of the longest IWGP Junior Heavyweight matches I can recall seeing. I think it went a little longer than the one he had with El Desperado. But with that being said, again, Hiromu, he's going to keep on bringing his fun, moto to this division. And I hope that he and Sho, they do meet again, because at least this was safer than what happened last year with Hiromu Takahashi and Ryo Lee. Good God almighty. And at one point, instead of chops, we literally just had forearm exchanges, what I think was close to 5 minutes. Really good match, though. What we got here? Don't see ELP winning against Hiromu for the junior heavyweight title. Believe in both junior title matches. Champions will retain. That's a fair analysis, because again, if you put all the titles only on one person, is that overkill? But this is New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I guess it all comes down to their vision and their direction for this division. And again, I'm pretty sure eventually El Desperado and Yoshimura Kanemaru, they're going to be watching this feud, and they're going to come after what they believe is rightfully theirs. And maybe eventually try and break ELP's foot. I don't know. But that is a solid thought. All right, so now we move into the final day of this tour on the 11th. And before this, there were matches that, of course, were continuing to build. The rivalry that's been building this entire road, that was Okada and Evil. And it looked like it was finally going to come ahead in an impromptu match after they were supposed to have a tag team match at first. But Evil, he basically played his games. He got the better of Okada and Okada's spirits. Okada will not let this go. He wants the singles match. We will talk more about that later. Naito, he pinned Homa for a 25 count, I believe, as I'm sure Homa and Naito. Homa wants a singles match with Naito, but not just like tranquilo. And also, Master Wato, coming off a loss from Bushi, he did get a win here over El Desperado in a nice tag match. So it was a nice follow-up for him. But now that we got all the Sullies out of the way, and of course, my favorite, the King, Kasa Ninare, he got his shots in, throwing the blizzard at freaking Uemura and knocking the Young Lion out. Jesus. Again, anytime I see Minoru Suzuki, it's always a must-see for me. We go into what headlined this show first, before the main event, the entire reason for this tour. As the six-man Never Overweight Tag Team Championships were on the line, as Tomohiro Ishii, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi, they defended them against Jay White, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa. This was an aggressive back-and-forth match, but again, I feel like those Never Overweight titles, they kind of sometimes are just, lost here, lost there, so it's like, do you find the right identity? Are they really that important? Are they showcased enough? Looks like before I talk more about this match, let's see what you got to say here. Day 1, Hiroshima, Naito pinned Homa. Then day 2, he pinned his former No Limit partner, Yujiro, who I'm glad is okay. Oh, I agree 100%. But again, I still miss pizza. And honestly, when I saw Yujiro Takahashi was in that tag match with, of course, Lij, I kind of saw him eating the fall here. So Naito, again, he's back on all fronts. It seems like momentum is all going his way as far as, his form of fun and what he's doing. And of course, he and Hiromu are still playing against each other. I'm pretty sure Hiromu has not forgiven him for breaking the Best of Super Juniors trophy because Hiromu knows it was freaking Naito. Okay, we all do. Anyway, as far as this match goes, of course, the only thing I was the first focus on was Tomohiro Ishii finally getting his piece of the Switchblade Jay White. And that happened throughout multiple portions of this match. When I think about the fact that these neverweight titles was a 12-year goal for one Headhunter Yoshihashi, there was no way I saw these titles changing hands, okay? There was no way, and my aspirations were correct. As this match kept going down the line, we saw the tag team duo of Goto and Yoshihashi taking it to GOD, controlling the match in their favor at times. But after Jay White and Tama Tonga isolated Yoshihashi, it looked like he was going to be the fall guy here at times. But again, as Jay White puts it, this man has so much damn fighting spirit. And it really showed off here because all it took was a quick counter for counter, pin roll-up maneuver to, I think it was an attempted super power bomb at times, because of course we had Gato and Jado here, the numbers game in favor. As Tomohiro Ishii and Jay White, they continue their hostilities on the outside of the ring. At one point, Jay White taking out Tomohiro Ishii. Yoshihashi, he just gets the man in a roll-up and successfully retains the never openweight titles. When I think about these neverweight titles and who could challenge them next, there isn't that many options that I could see. Maybe like another portion of Bullet Club, like Evil, Yujiro, and Dick Togo could probably challenge these guys next. But again, the most focus I had on this match was Tomohiro Ishii and Jay White, which I feel was being built from this as a singles encounter. However, there was something else developed out of this match based on what happened here and who won. As Yoshihashi and Goto, they have now set their sights on the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, held by one GOD, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. And again, these guys are like, those towels, you ain't shit. These are the real deal. You want these, you will never have these. And of course, this was continued subtly backstage after Yoshihashi, Goto, and Tomohiro Ishii were giving us backstage thoughts until Jay White and GLD beat the crap out of them. And they're like, you guys are like champions now? Yeah, here you go, champion. You were thirsty. And of course, afterwards, when they walked off, literally, Tomohiro Ishii is like, where are those bastards? He went to go after them, and then Yoshihashi slowly went to follow him. I'm pretty sure not to restrain Tomohiro Ishii, but literally help him out. And then Goto followed as well. So it looks like these six are not done with each other by a long shot, and it feels like that now Yoshihashi and Goto, they have their target set on more gold. While Tomohiro Ishii and Jay White, they are ultimately on a path destined to fall into a one-on-one match that we will talk about later. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good match, though. Would I say this is better than the one that they had against Suzuki-gun? No, because I thought Dukai was so darn close. He wanted it so damn badly, but it just was not his time. I feel that Dukai will eventually get gold, though, and it will be his time. But before any of that happens, I feel Dukai and Jado, they need to go against each other one-on-one. Just saying. Amazed that after that assault, Goto was the only one who was like, I'll save this for another day, as he didn't follow. Yeah, when you think Goto is more hot-headed, especially of this trio, considering he did jump the barricade and literally attack Jay White during the road, I was kind of surprised with that by myself. But again, we got to think about the road to the next tour that officially starts, I believe this Sunday, Castle Attack. And I feel like we're going to see a much more aggressive, PO'd, non-passive Goto. But we'll have to wait and see. But that was not the end of this. As this tour, the new beginning, it all culminated, finally, in two men with so much respect for each other, two men with their own identities and ideologies in wrestling, and two men who truly feel like they are New Japan Pro Wrestling, but they respect each other's aspirations, and I feel like one is still figuring out the other. As finally brought back from G1 Climax 30 finale and the Fascinata Beat Diva of Wrestle Kingdom, God versus The Hope. As Kota Ibushi, he finally defended the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships against Sanada. When these two fight each other, it is a classic, but it's always a different type of match because these two are so different and versatile in styles. Sanada with a much more technical-based, counterintuitive style, not really a striker. While Kota Ibushi, with his striking background, he really relies on his power game, I feel like. But he's also very agile. He's like the hybrid wrestler, not too like mean, not too fast, not too heavy, but aggressive. Anyway, this match was definitely a crowd favorite. Both men back and forth, subtle exchanges in the early beginning. As Sanada and Kota Ibushi, they fought for control. As Sanada had Ibushi down, Ibushi, of course, springing up like freaking a rubber band. Seriously, Ibushi could be a freaking rubber band, man, I feel like. Ibushi got one stiff kick finally in on Sanada that put the match to his favor. Then he goes over the top with the triangle moonsault at times. And literally, these two were just jockeying for control. And by the way, best referee in the business, Red Shoes, just saying. As this match continued, though, you could definitely tell both these men were really pushing each other and trying to be more aggressive. As Kota Ibushi had been wanting Sanada to speak out and literally been trying to bring something out of Sanada, it seems, because he loves fighting this guy. So, as this match continued, he literally got that. As Kota Ibushi at one point literally hit the finishing call out of nowhere, Bumbaye. That was our first kick-out moment of the match. As Sanada eventually counters Kota Ibushi into a skull, and it didn't seem like he had it fully firmly in. So, of course, he was able to get out of that. And then at one point, literally Sanada going for the double leg Nelson European clutch. It was Kota Ibushi's power who leveled that, and that hold didn't work out. Eventually, Sanada, though, his own Kamigoye, and then literally goes for that Buddha moonsault. Nice near fall, not quite enough. As this match continued down the line, literally Kota Ibushi planting Sanada into the mat. It was not really enough. And both these men for counter and counter pinfall roll-ups, and literally we're around the 20-minute mark. But again, he gets out of the skull and eats pop-up TKO. A very impressive move by Sanada that he can seem to pull out from out of nowhere. Just saying. And it looks like, again, Sanada, the match is going into his favor as he tried to go, of course, for that padded moonsault again. But it wasn't enough. Eventually, Ibushi calling back to the power of his gods and his former golden lover. Bang! Pop up freaking V-trigger out of nowhere with an exposed knee. We go towards the end of this match, and he finally hits him with another Kamigoye with an exposed knee. After being shocked, he kicked off a previous Kamigoye without an exposed knee. And this was enough to finally put Cold Skull down for the count of 3. And afterwards, both these men, they just shared a subtle bit of respect to each other. And overall, again, very classic competitive bout. And these two would not mind going at each other again and again and again and again, as Kota Ibushi subtly alluded to back on commentary. Anyway, when I think about this match, I look at it this way. I didn't see Kota Ibushi losing. I also didn't see Sanada being hurt in defeat, with the fact these two work so well with each other and have so much respect for one another. But I do wonder, what is next for Cold Skull? What is his ultimate goal? Is Sanada still trying to really figure out himself? Is Kota Ibushi onto something here? As Kota Ibushi, again, he defends the black belt and the white belt held by his gods. And by the way, one of his gods, Tanahashi, was at commentary the whole time. You can only wonder what's going through Tanahashi's mind seeing Kota Ibushi in this role, in this state, as champion. And also this idea that he wants to unite the two titles as one. But again, we're going to have to see how this all plays out going forward. We've seen Shingo Takagi, for example, have subtle like exchanges and looks with Kota Ibushi. And we also know how much Kota Ibushi respects Tanahashi. So there's that respect there too, as Tanahashi's the numberweight champion. But before I can talk anymore about what I think could come, who's challenged next, etc., who comes out but, of course, the man that literally gave these two belts after he was pinned for a count of 3. But one, Tetsuya Naito. And basically, he calls he calls God to basically say that he does not want to see these titles unify. He did not give Kota Ibushi these two titles to unify them as one. So he wants to challenge Kota Ibushi for one of those titles. And the title he picked might surprise you. The white one, the Intercontinental Championship. I was like, what? You feel about this love-hate relationship with Tetsuya Naito and the Intercontinental Championship, and literally him destroying the original one, and he wants the Intercontinental title versus the heavyweight? What? This was an odd choice to me, but regardless how I feel about it, Kota Ibushi's like, you want this? Tranquilo. Quit talking. Let's do it. And apparently, as I'll talk about subtly, it looks like we now know what's next for Kota Ibushi, at least one half to what he holds near and dear. Because again, he loves these belts so much for who they stood for who they were previously held by. And as we slowly go off the air, he says, I will not betray you. I will not lose. I will not fall. So again, we're going to have to see how this all goes forward in Castle Attack. Anyway, as we go backstage, Nada, he subtly says, I appreciate going up against God. I do not mind doing this again. And that's really it. Not really much more to say. But Kota Ibushi was much more vocal with everything here. He said he wouldn't mind going up against Nada anytime. He also talked about how he really does believe that these two belts together should be one. But he also understands that there are critics to those against it, such as Tetsuya Naito, who says that, again, it's up to the champion what he wants to do with these. But also, you got to think about that he does not agree with this. He also wonders, what's Tanahashi's fondness? What's Okada's fondness? I think we all know what Okada thinks after he went Nandinde when this whole double gold thing started, literally about a year and a half ago. What you got here, Sandy? Curious if you want to talk about what happened at Pro Wrestling Noah, especially with that main event involving Kaiji Muto. All right, I'll go off a tangent. Yeah, I find that extremely surprising that Kaiji Muto beat Go Shioshiku and is once again a champion. Again, it's like some wrestlers never age, but I honestly did not see that coming. I truly thought he was going to retain. But Kaiji Muto being a former IWGP heavyweight champion, I mean, honestly, he really was part of the original Wrestle Kingdoms. I'm curious where this is going to go now in Pro Wrestling Noah, and I need to watch that more because I don't have enough time to like watch that and Stardom as dedicated-wise as I do with New Japan. But when I saw that news, it kind of surprises me. I feel now that Go feels humble, but I also feel like he's definitely going to go for a rematch. And I'm curious who's going to go after Kaiji Muto first. And I wonder if Tanahashi has any thoughts towards this as well. I wonder how much Tanahashi like follows Pro Wrestling Noah, because at one point it was Noah and New Japan Pro Wrestling literally going at each other in a special. It was literally a Wrestle Kingdom dedicated to these two companies competing against each other. So again, it's interesting, but I don't have much more to say on it right now, considering I've been focused on New Japan, but I am curious where it goes, and congratulations to Kaiji Muto. I was wrong. Anyway, but going back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, it looks like literally Naito and Kota. Naito going after a title that has been a 6-year plague with him. And Kota, who still believes, again, based on what these titles stand for, he wants to unify them as one, but he's willing to take on all comers for both titles or either titles. He even suddenly name dropped Zack Sabre Jr. And we all know how much history Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi has had, especially across various G1s where they've traded victories, tied up each other, and knocked out each other. But I also wonder what's next for Suzuki-gun as well, with Taiji's head back in the fold. Again, all this, though, we're going to have to wait and see. But it looks like, as far as the titles go, we do know subtly what's coming up next. As the New Beginning, I thought, was really awesome. It really did define what the name meant when it came to New Beginnings. We got new rivalries formed. We got new ideologies testing current passions and ideologies. We got new champions, which, again, I still can't believe Shingo Takagi lost the Neverweight title. That was definitely the biggest shocker to me. And also, as we started to learn, a new young lion showing up, too. So with that being said, I thought the New Beginning was really good. If I had to pick my favorite match overall from the New Beginning, I got to give it to Sho and Hiromu. They absolutely tore the house down in that match that I thought was not going to go as far. Now, would I compare that match being better than the one with Desperado? Absolutely not, because Desperado took it to a whole nother level when he literally took his own mask off, and Hiromu tried to literally remove what he believed that Desperado was hiding. But again, Sho is an absolutely incredible athlete, and he's made the most of what he can with the fact that his partner Yo is still out on injury. And with that being said, I would definitely encourage you all to check out the New Beginning. I'd love to hear your thoughts overall, like what impressed you, what were you like, yeah. Are you happy that Kota Ibushi and Sanada happened again? Would you like to see Kota Ibushi and Sanada happen again? What do you want to see next for Sanada with the anniversary show around the corner and the New Japan Cup? I'd love to hear your thoughts regarding anything New Japan Pro Wrestling and this tour as well. But as we move away from the New Beginning, we now prepare for the next tour coming up, Castle Attack. And Castle Attack will, of course, culminate in a 2-day showcase where one night we will have 5 singles matches and the other night 5 championship matches. So buckle up, folks. With that being said, we know what's first to come. We got traditional tag team elimination matches as Bullet Club and Chaos continue to go at each other's throats. We got now Yuji Nagata teaming up with Kota Ibushi, as it seems that Naito and them will continue their way on their way to Castle Attack. Because, folks, that Intercontinental Championship match, it was made official. So it looks like for now you can rest on the fact that these titles are not being united. But would I rule that out completely? No. But I also wonder, should the titles be united, considering what I think about the Never Overweight title and maybe these 2 titles being one? Or do you go Never, Heavyweight, and Intercontinental in the middle still? I'm still pondering it myself. But let's take a look at some of the matches that will highlight this, including on the road, we will get the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. It was made official. Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi will get their chance for the gold again against this time ELP and Taiji Ishimori. When I look at this match, though, I think about one thing. Beware that man's kick. And also, I think about this being our preview, of course. Towards the match was also made official, I'll talk about shortly, for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. All I gotta say is I feel like Bushi is going to get kicked in, and I feel the champs are going to retain. Bullet Club and Chaos, that feud, that'll never end. Even 8 years later, that feud is priceless. You're absolutely right considering how many different shades of that feud there have been, with Okada being pretty much at the forefront. And of course, Okada and Evil, they're sure to revisit hostilities during this as they finally will get their match in Osaka, one-on-one, made official. No more games, no more postponement, no more DQ finishes, no more trickery. It finally comes ahead. And I don't think even Dick Togo and that Garrett will be enough to stop Rainmaker from exacting what he believes he has owed. And that is that win against Evil. But I absolutely agree with you there, Elizabeth. Anyway, as we move on from the road, we also know there is a ton of New Japan Pro Wrestling stuff happening at the end of February. Not just with Castle Attack, but might I add, folks, if you did not see this match, they literally put it on New Japan World. I highly recommend it. It literally showcases these tag team preview tag vibes you would think about as we hype up the IWGP United States Championship match to happen at NJPW Strong during the New Beginning USA, finally coming ahead between Jon Moxley and Kenta. And I can only imagine what these two are going to do against each other in singles action that they didn't do in that tag team affair. But I'll tell you one thing. That 20-minute match was a hell of a preview with what these two are willing to do and how hard they are willing to hit each other. At one point, again, Kenta with a double stomp off the stage, running through Jon Moxley's chest, through a table, to the floor, and of course, making him go to sleep again. As the show went off the air on AEW this week with Kenta beating up Jon Moxley still and basically being the guy on top. And would I say this is the only time we're going to see Kenta in AEW, just to go off a slight tangent? Absolutely not. And I feel like it's not the only Bullet Club influence to show up in AEW. Mark my words. But anyway, that will be on February 26th. And then, of course, Castle Attack will finally come ahead starting February 27th, headlined by, finally, Tomohiro Ishii and Jay White and Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, and Evil. When I think about these two matches, I think about this. I think about Tomohiro Ishii has been waiting to get his hands on Jay White one-on-one. But Jay White always seems to be the man with a plan, as he claims. This is their era, real Bullet Club era. This is my era. You all are just living in it. And ultimately, I will be the winner no matter what. Why I look at Okada and Evil, and I think about, okay, maybe these two, they can build their ways into the New Japan Cup. Who really needs this win more? It's no doubt who wants to win more, clearly, and that is Okada. While Evil basically says, I can destroy it at any time, and Dick Togo calls him a joke, you're embarrassing yourself. We will also have, regardless whether ELP or Hiromu, whoever is coming in with the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, they finally come ahead one-on-one for the one thing that has eluded ELP this entire time. As on the 28th, we will have Hiromu and ELP for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. With Liger, who's been on commentary so much, supporting Hiromu and going against everything ELP's been doing, there's no doubt in my mind that Hiromu's going to be doing this for Liger, and it'll be the ultimate satisfaction for Liger too, if Hiromu retains. But again, I'm just talking right now. We'll talk more about that soon. Because again, these matches on the road, they're going to give you a bit of an identity, and they're going to give you a bit of thoughts towards each of these matches. Who's coming in with more momentum? Who is going to go into these matches the better man in better shape? Speaking of better man, better shape, we got to talk about also coming to happening on February 28th. The ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and his first never overweight title defense. He goes up against Great-O-Khan. Will Great-O-Khan avenge his loss against the ace back at Wrestle Kingdom and claim gold for the United Empire? Or will the ace once again make an example out of Great-O-Khan and once again show you why you never go against him? Don't count me out. And of course, I can still go with the best of them. But also, we know the history of never-weight champions and how most of them have only been able to hold it literally up to their first defense and lose it. Will the same thing happen to the ace, like what happened to him after Royal Quest, where he took on Zack Sabre Jr. in a rematch for the British Championship and lost in that first defense? And will the ace stick to his game or try to play the Great-O-Khan's game? Because in that match, Zack Sabre Jr.'s game is what led to the ace's downfall. The ace didn't go on his own merit. So again, we got to wonder what direction this match will go based on what we see on the road. And of course, Castle Attack will all be culminated by Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito on the 28th for only the Intercontinental Championship. To think, the Intercontinental Championship is the main event while the actual Heavyweight Championship is involved in the match. A little bit bizarre when you think about it, but also this is kind of a callback to what happened to Tetsuya Naito back at a Wrestle Kingdom, where he was the guy in the top title match, but he wasn't the main event. Kind of like a bit of a switching gears here. So I look at this match, I think about this. I think about if Naito wins, that ultimately derails this idea of unification. And ultimately, I think it returns to Japan back to normal. I feel it also hurts Kota Ibushi and what he wants to do. But if Kota Ibushi retains, it further solidifies that idea that Kota wants these titles unified as one maybe, and we literally might get one title, or maybe going forward, maybe some on New Japan Cup even, we might get Kota Ibushi defending both these titles on the same night. Because he says he's willing to do that too. He's willing to do whatever it takes to elevate professional wrestling, because that's what he wants to do. But again, with that being said, those are just the headline matches that I'm most looking forward to, of course, during Castle Attack. There will be, of course, Yoshihashi versus one half of GOD and Goto versus the other half of GOD. We will have Yoshihashi and Goto versus GOD for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And we will also have freaking Goto defending his KLPW against Chase Owens in a Texas strap match where you will be restrained by a strap, and the only way to win is to touch all four corners consecutively of the ring. So again, I'm very curious how everything plays out on Castle Attack as we head towards the anniversary show and what will be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion versus the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match. We know Kota Ibushi is going to be involved regardless, but whether or not he's facing ELP or Hiromu, that is yet to be determined. Not to mention, we know history that Kota Ibushi has with one Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay says he wants more gold. And honestly, I can see Will Ospreay coming after Kota Ibushi next, if nothing else, for the heavyweight title. And maybe that'll play out during the New Japan Cup, which literally will be right after the anniversary show. We're just going to have to wait and see. As the New Japan Cup will be culminated, of course, at Sakura Genesis. That's back. Yay. But again, we're going to have to wait and see. Well, that's all I have to say for now in this simple take on all things New Japan Pro Wrestling. Again, if you have not checked out the Roku channel, I highly recommend it as they show us Wrestle Kingdom in its entirety, match by match by match by match in high definition. And it's free, folks. Yeah, you do have an advertisement or two, but, you know, it is what it is. Believe right now, if Naito wins the IC title, we'll finally get Hiromu Naito to the anniversary show. Well, that was supposed to happen this past year. That will not be named because it was better off forgotten. But I'm sure people are clamoring for that, so you definitely might be onto something there, my friend. If Hiromu basically gets to retain his IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship and Naito wins the Continental, does Hiromu get to choose maybe who he wants to face? Because again, when you think about the anniversary show, it's always the heavyweight versus junior heavyweight. That's always been the highlight. So we're going to have to wait and see. Again, New Japan Pro Wrestling, constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly leave us wanting more. That's all I have to say for now. But if y'all want to connect more with me, know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. So keep following the simple YouTube channel here at youtube.com/C/NoFoss210 for all things wrestling. Shop me a fan on Twitter. There's more live content coming up regarding all sorts of wrestling. And thank you, by the way, to all 182 of you now that's been with me on this fun YouTuber creator's journey. Content coming up, though, of course, you can always look for me on my affiliates. They always have a ton of wrestling stuff coming. Support Noted Q, Cleveland Carl Andrew, Jeff Meacham Network, Bulletcast, my Friends and G's podcasts, Adventure in Wrestling to Strasbourg, James Huberman, the FTW Network. And again, folks, I will have preview predictions tomorrow for NXT Vengeance Day live at 3 p.m. And as I approach the 1 year anniversary of AEW Spark, there will be a special Aftershock edition with my ATW crew before the anniversary show too, and so much more. So stay tuned. And as always, I like to close. There are no winners. There are no losers. There are no betters. There are just wrestling fans with their own opinion. We all share this similar passion, but our own identity for this art, this craft, this entertainment, this sport, whatever you want to call it. So at the end of the day, folks, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that. With that being said, I thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell when the video goes live on this channel. Hit subscribe and help me keep growing this channel. And again, until the next video, take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families and enjoy wrestling. There's more of it now than ever. So find some promotion, some person, some company, male or female-wise talent that will connect with you. And stay tuned. I will also have a bracketology over the AEW Women's Tournament too. And we'll definitely be here for Revolution. But until Castle Attack, I'm done here for now for all New Japan Pro Wrestling content. So please, go check out New Japan World if you haven't already. Or check out the content for free on Roku TV and see what you might have been missing this entire time. This is an incredible wrestling company. Always leaves me wanting more. Always leaves me asking for more. I love what it brings. I love talking about it. I love watching it. I love reacting to it in English or Japanese commentary. So there's always more of an energy coming out of me when I hear the Japanese commentary go, whoa! But I digress. And again, I appreciate everybody who continues to follow this simple man and his love for wrestling. So until the next video, I just hope you all take care and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Goki Genyo and sayonara.